webinar, I'll be covering specifically for business owners and what they can access the stimulus package. Okay. Now, this is the most exciting one. Now, I will first address what this is about, and then I will address the timing and the eligibility, okay? So what this is for business owners who employ staff, and also there's a bonus for those, so employ staff. So there are two stages. Stage one will commence right now for the BAS. So next week, when we start preparing your BAS, we will help you claim this one. The stage one is up to 50,000 as the max. Now, employers who pay wages, who don't have to pay PAYG withholding for their staff because the wages is too low, the minimum you'll get is $10,000 for this BAS, and that will be paid on the 28th of April. So my recommendation is to make sure your books are up to date, and then submit it to our accountants to lodge the BAS immediately, because obviously the sooner you get that in, then we can work out what is your maximum claim for the PAYG withholding. So you could be entitled from $10,000 to $50,000. That would be an injection to your business, okay? For those who are monthly lodgers and quarterly lodgers. So quarterly lodgers, you'll receive the payment for the quarters March 2020 and June 2020. For those who have to lodge monthly, you'll be receiving from March, April, May, June. So it just splits into smaller chunks, but in those ones. Now, the interesting one, which I draw to your attention, is that there is also a bonus for those employees that lodge in March that have PAYG withholding activity. You will get a bonus of 3 times the actual amount withheld for those lodging on monthly basis, which I'll go for an example later, but just note that point, okay? So now stage 2, employees that continue to be active, that means active from now to pretty much, I think it's September, during this crisis, then what they will be eligible for another 50,000, so another 10,000 to 50,000 on the withholding, okay? So what that means is that, so let's say you obviously the restriction on trading is applied, but if your business is still running like normally, the director still runs their business, and then they might let stand down staff then you can still be eligible for this stage 2, okay? So again, when quarterly lodgers of BAS will be eligible in June and September, each payment being equal to 50% of the initial stage 1. Now, monthly lodgers will be eligible in June, July, August, and September, okay, through the IASs. And again, the monthly total will be 50,000. Now, I know this is easier demonstrated through a case study, so I will do that shortly. So, but these are the 2 criteria to be eligible for, because I have a lot of questions of clients asking me, what if, if I'm, can I be eligible? So just note these. So if you take a salary or dividend at the moment as a director drawing and want to maximize your cash back, you could explore changing the treatment of your remuneration from drawings to salary from now on, as long as there's a commercial reason to do so, and not just for the sole purpose to increase any of the above payments. What does that mean? So what I'm saying is that if you've been drawing, like let's say you're running it through if you're running through the family trust right now, and you have, for the last few years, you've been distributing trust distribution, but you've still been paying super contributions to your super. So so you're still paying super, you're still drawing out, and you are the main guy and girl to operate your business. So you can still have a commercial reasons to say, well, you know what, I'm still running my business through this crisis to September. I'm still the day-to-day. So there is a commercial reasons to pay you as a salary. Now, obviously, you have to be aware of these other eligibility criteria. So you have to have an ABN before 12th of March. You have to be a small business, which I think all our clients are under 50 million. and you have to apply this specific integrity rule, which means you just can't, decide to increase your salary from 100,000 to, let's say, 200,000, just to increase the PAYG withholding. The other thing that you have to realize is that you have to register for PAYG withholding with the ATO already to be able to pay yourself wages. Okay, so if you're haven't done that, then and you're unsure, this is something you need to be you need to do it properly. Otherwise, the ATO can just stamp it out as an artificial arrangement and refuse the payment to you. Okay, so I will cover this next. These are the dates that you will actually be able to access. So as soon as you lodge these monthly, these are the dates that the ATO will put the cash back into your accounts. So quarterly is 28th of April to 28th of July for the Q4, and these are the ones. Okay. Timing. Okay, I'm going to go through an example now to help people understand how all this measure works, because we had a lot of questions asked how this works. So we have a hairdresser business. He employs 12 hairdressers with salaries of $50,000 on average. So his monthly withholding is about $8,788 for each employee. Now, if you're a director, and you also could be an employee as well, so make sure you listen on this one. Now, for this particular person, he will receive a credit of $26,364 for the March BAS period, which, now remember I told you about the 300% bonus. So because his monthly average PAYG withholding is $8,788 from Jan to now, to March, then the government is gonna pay 3 times of the average withholding. So that's instant cash back to your business, right? So the next credit will be in April, the next credit will be in May, which is the same as what he's paying. And to wrap it up, because the first, as I said, by June, you get a maximum of 50,000 cap. So that means if you add these 1, 2, 3, then the difference is 6,060, which he can also get cash back in the June BAS. So it's very important that every one of you continues to lodge your BAS on time and give our accountants the information so we can lodge it on time and keep your compliance up in order for you to be eligible. The next quarter, which is then becomes the after June, Sean will also receive an additional payment of $12,500. Now, this is equivalent to 25% of the maximum that he received in the previous quarters, okay? So we worked out to be $12,500 for the June period, equal to 25% of his total cash flow for employee payments. Now, please note that this means that your business still needs to be active. I will address what active means a bit later, okay? So what this means is that he will receive in July $12,500. He will receive $12,500 in August as well as September. Now, a lot of people ask me, so what's the $25,000 relate to this? The first announcement, the government actually capped it at $2,000 minimum to $25,000. Now they've capped it at $20,000 minimum to $100,000. That supersedes this $25,000, okay, overrides it, which is much better anyway. Okay, so I've just explained that. Okay, so the next one is, I've just put in a summary of all the benefits and what day our client Sean will receive this. Okay, you can see there. So if your business in cash flow strife at the moment, then you might want to note these dates down and just have a go at working out what you receive, because you know, this could help your business keep afloat for the short term. Okay. All right. What happens if you do not pay PAYG for your business owners. So as I said, we have a small business here, Tim, who pays 2 casual employees. They don't require PAYG withholding, and Tim reports $0 for his employees. He just pays salary, but not withholding. So what happens to him? So he still can receive $10,000 for the March quarter, as he had paid salary and wages, but is not required to withhold. An additional payment of $5,000 for June, and additional for September as well. So he will also receive up to $20,000 minimum to help with his cash flow. The idea of this measure is to keep the minimum skeleton staff on during this crisis. So obviously the government wants businesses to keep their staff as long as possible. And they will pay for the PAYG holding plus the cash injection for you to do that to pay your staff. Now, I will go through, before I go through this, if you have any questions on that, the one I just covered, please, again, chat into the Facebook group and we will reply after the webinar. The next thing I would like to cover is what are the tax incentives for business owners? Now, there is lots of tax incentives. The big, massive one is the immediate write-off. What that means is that you will remember we were allowed $30,000 to immediately deduct for your business to offset the profits of your business for the beginning of the year. Obviously, there's not much profit sales now, but let's say you had, assets over 100. Okay, so what this means is, John, I might get you to just put your any questions just in the chat box, and then one of our team will answer you at the end. So the immediate tax deduction threshold has been increased from 30,000 to 150 for assets between 12th of March to 30 June. So this is a very short window. So if you're looking to buy a luxury car, obviously before it was only 30,000. Now you can go up to 150,000, and we can claim that as an immediate deduction within this financial year tax return. The other thing that I wanted to cover was if you have existing depreciation assets, so if you have a carry forward a small pool, let's say of less than 150,000, our accountants can also write that off immediately for you. So the idea is this year, I would say that a lot of people will not be paying tax on their current business, because there's a lot of, this incentive will help a lot. Now, what about if assets over 150,000? So that would attract an additional 50% depreciation rate of the asset cost in the year of purchase. So that means that you get an accelerated depreciation for any purchase above 150, okay? Note that these are not cash in your bank, cash in your business. It's just a tax deduction that reduces your tax payable to the government at the 2020 tax return time. And potentially going forward as well. So how do you apply? This credit will be processed by your tax accountant on preparation of your 2020. So make sure that if you have any purchases that you'd like to make for your business, bring it forward. Bring it forward before 30 June, because this is the time to do it, okay? All right, other cash flows and incentives. Now, if you run a business and you have paid PAYG installment in your business, you can actually request to refund that to you. So, for example, if you paid PAYG installments for the first half of the year, meaning from 1 July, from September 2019 and December 2019, then we can request those installments to be refunded for you to help, and that's cash back into your bank account. Okay, that allows you to, use to keep your business afloat. If you're a monthly payer and have income of 5 million, which is everyone, the variation can only be done on the phone for previous installments paid. Okay, so these are quarterly on top. That can be applied through your BAS, and monthly is through the phone by our accountants. Okay, so that's that one. If you happen to have remissions of interest and penalties, now you can also ask for all the remissions and penalties that are occurred on the 23rd of January. Okay, so for those businesses affected. Now, we always have been very successful in asking for remissions and penalties for our clients, regardless of whether it be coronavirus event or not. So as long as you're up to date with your tax returns and and then pay off your debt, but in this case, you don't have to pay off your debt. They just will not charge interest and penalties for any late payments. The other good thing is that for those who are still catching up with their compliance, there is a 4 months deferring of the payments date of BASs. So 4 months to pay your BAS and FBT that's coming up, okay? And also tax returns. So what the government is doing is helping preserve your cash flow so you can keep your business afloat. So if you remember, if you're not sure, then I will post this recording onto our success group community so you can refer it to again. Now, payment of certain tax debt and ongoing tax debt to the HO. There are a couple of very important things to note here. You still must pay your superannuation for your employees and for yourself, okay? So there's no relief at the moment for that, for super. You and your accountant can also contact the HO directly for any of those measures. If you already are a package client, we will happy to help you with that. It is important to note also that it's not automatically agreed. So you actually have to make contact with HO to get them to approve it. If your business has been affected by this coronavirus, HO is also offering low interest payment plans. So at the moment, the interest rate is very high. It's above the market rate. But now they're willing to, enter into debt arrangement and payment plans much lower than that. So again, a call, let your accountant know and they can help you apply for that. Or we've put the number down here that you can apply for it yourself, okay? All right, so moving on. For those people who employ a lot of staff, I've got up here New South Wales and Victoria. Obviously, if you're a different state, then you please email our team and we can provide. Actually, we will post for the other states as well on our Facebook. So, but particularly for Victoria, because a lot of our clients are in Victoria, if your business was it less than $3 million, then most likely you'll be eligible to defer any payroll tax for the first 3 months and until 1 of January. So please, if you're in that situation, get in touch with your accountant, okay? This is very good, interesting for the banks are now coming into and helping out everyone. I've just put on an example from CBA but I'm sure, and I know that all banks, all big banks and some smaller credit unions are offering this. So now is the time for it to be part of a big bank, but they're deferring repayments on up to 6-month overdraft loans, business loans. They're reducing commercial rates by 0.25. They're waiving all these fees for you. But again, you have to make contact with them immediately because it's not automatic. Okay, so don't assume it's automatic. You just have to make the request and then they will approve you and they will adjust for you. Now this is very good for those businesses that have been asking for funding for finance in business, and it was almost impossible to get before. So right now, the government has come up with this funding. It's called the Coronavirus SME Guarantee Scheme, where they will provide guarantee to the bank. They'll and the SME lenders to support new short-term unsecured loans to business owners. Now, from memory, it was like $250,000 that they can offer you. So if you've been seeking finance for the last, and you've been able to secure that, maybe now's the time because you can get finance to help pay, obviously that one to pay and keep your business afloat as well. Okay, so what does it mean to me? So what this is a new loan product for your banks, and the best way is to contact your bank about this package and just refer it and ask them about the Coronavirus SME Guarantee Scheme, because I believe that it's also I'm not sure about the interest rate if they're going to, you know, make it a bit cheaper, but at least it's available for you. I think it's 250,000 where you can use it as capital for your business right now. Okay. The good thing also is this loan guarantee from the government. The exemption is for 6 months. Okay, so that means that they're deferring, as you can see, any new credit limit increases and credit variations restructures. So there is, yeah, speak to your bank about this because it could help you keep you afloat during this time. The other thing is rental relief and land tax. For those who are renting their commercial leases, what happens is that a lot of you have closed your business temporary, and obviously you're still having to pay the rent, right? So what we've been doing already for our clients is that we've got a letter that we can write as your accountant to certify that in the next, 3 to 6 months that you will not be, your sales will reduce, and that we, appeal for the landlord to reduce either 50% or defer payment until 3 to 6 months. So get in touch with your accountant, and if you want that letter to be sent out, we're happy to do that for you for free, because we believe that, it's impossible to get out of a lease, signed contract, but at least we can get the landlord to get on board to help you not pay the full rent anyway during the time that you're closed. The other thing is the land tax will be deferred for eligible small business as well. Okay, so if you have supporting apprentices and trainees, a lot of our clients have asked us also, what about apprentices wages? Now, to keep the apprentices employed, the government has come up with a 50% wage subsidy. What does that mean? So where you can retain an apprentice wage during this time, from 1 Jan, if you already paid them from 1 Jan to 30 September, that's the future, then you can be reimbursed up to 21,000 per eligible apprentice or trainee. That's per quarter, $7,000. Okay. Now, to be eligible, you have to hire less than 20 staff and who retain apprentices during this time. And the apprentice must have been in training with a small business as at 1 March 2020. Does that make sense? So let's say you let the apprentice go already before 1 March, then that's most likely not eligible. Now, this is the area where you will be able to apply for it. So the Australian Apprentice Support Network, where you can apply, see if you're eligible. So that's again quite 21,000 that you can claim to keep your apprentice employee in the job. The timing that you can register is early April. So that's probably next week. And final claims for payment must be lodged by 31st December. But I recommend you lodge that probably now so that you can get the benefit. That's where you would go, the link. Now, I'll get Anna to post all these links onto our group, Success group, where all the links where you can apply. And this is the other link, okay? Okay, so if one of your questions is one of these questions for business owners, then I will answer it now. But please let me know any other questions and post it in our Facebook, and we will get Anna or one of our accountants to answer for you. What if I can't afford to pay my employees' super guarantee contribution by the due date because of COVID? So what do you need to do? So with super, we can't extend the due date to pay super guarantee contributions. So that's probably the only area at the moment that the government hasn't relaxed for our business owners at the moment. But we recommend that you pay as much as possible by the due date, even if you can't pay in full, because this will reduce any guarantee charge that they apply on it. If you haven't paid the full super guarantee by the due date, then ask your accountant to lodge a super guarantee charge statement now. because if you do this within the month, there will be no penalties, because right now there's penalties of I think 10% of the super balance, but an interest will there will be penalties, but interest will still apply. So at the end of this month, meaning March, you have to make sure you get that in place. Okay. If you have trouble paying your super guarantee charge, we can help you set up a working payment arrangement with the ATO, but you need to get that within this week by end of March. Now, the next question I normally get is, I've gave customers a reimbursement due to a cancelled sale or no show. What do I do with that GST amount? So if you did do that and provide a reimbursement, and you have already paid the GST to us, you can then make it a decreasing adjustment to reduce that GST payable in the March BAS. Okay, so there's no worries, you can claim that back. But obviously you have to refund that to the amount and provide evidence that you've refunded to the customer. So you can refund it through payment in money, or obviously mutual liabilities or issuing of a voucher. Okay. FBT. FBT is for clients who that have they have cars inside their business, and they have a mix of driving their cars privately as well as for work. And there's also other RAF. I won't cover in detail what is FBT today. If there is a demand for it in the community, I will set up a different webinar. But if you are affected and you have to pay FBT, so as I said, if you provide laptop, or a printer or devices to enable them to work from home, then these will usually be exempt for FBT if they're primarily used for employees' employment. The minor fringe benefit may apply for minor or irregular benefits of less than $300. So a lot of your staff may are required to work from home or remotely, like our staff at the moment. So if they get access to a laptop, then it will be usually exempt for FBT. Okay. Now the next one is, this is a big one. A lot of business owners, clients are asking, when can employees be stood down without pay? Okay. So as you know, they're encouraged to work together and have a conversation with your employees, because it's a global pandemic. So I'm sure that in the news, everyone is aware of it. Employees who are stood down without pay remain employed for the period of stand down. So what that means is that for non-essential services, stand down employees, Gemma is a part-time employee at a similar complex. The city employs 10 staff and 15 casual. Now, Gemma manager calls her and will need to stand all employees down without pay, as they can't be usefully employed. Gemma and her colleagues advise that permanent employees can take any accrued leave they have as an alternative to being stood down without pay. However, casual employees are not entitled to be paid when the business is closed. All right. So as you can see, you can stand down casual employees, but the permanent ones, you can have a conversation and get them to pay their annual leave. Okay. Now, so there will be particularly about the employees, well, I will be posting some fact sheets on how to have that conversation with your employees, and also the conversation of how they can work safely and legally from home as well. So all that will be posted. So to make sure that your business, for those businesses that can run remotely, will still run. So what business support for our success clients? It is now available. We can help you claim all the cash incentives into your bank account quick and completely. We can help you access super of the 10,000 for this financial year, and from 1 July also get another 10,000. Wheels and powers of enduring should be updated, or at least create. If you don't have one now, then please get in contact immediately. This service writing to your landlord, if you're paying rent, is a free service which we're happy to help our clients. We will also offer you a fact sheet on how to stand down staff legally to be compliant with the Fair Work as well. Okay. So I would say that if you are in any of distress, or or if you don't, this is the time where you can get all your books and your business in order. Our accountants are business as usual, so everyone is on board. Most of them are working from home remotely. However, they have access to emails, and so the best way to contact is through email. Grow is our general email, but if you have a assigned accountant, please contact them by email directly. Okay, so that's the end of my my webinar. What I'll do is I'm going to open the line for questions. So if you have questions, I will now look at the questions and see if there's any questions you can post in the chat. So we have at the moment 38 people on here. So if you have questions for the panel, I will see if I can explain or answer some of the questions now. Okay. So just put in the chat here, so questions, but if you have a specific question, so what we're doing in the next 4 weeks is that now that you know the general, what you can claim in the stimulus, it will be ideal for you to, probably one-on-one with your accountant and myself or Koi to sit down and see what's the best plan for you to claim your incentives. Because, for example, there are things that need to be done now in order for you to maximize, I guess, the cash incentive. Legally, of course, but the idea is that you have to have your compliance in place. Okay, so I have a question. Khan has asked, do business owners on PSI eligible for any of the stimulus? So Khan, I will look at, did you pay salary on your business? So what that means is, you know, for example, if you're running a company and you paid a salary, and PAYG withholding, then you will be eligible as well. But we need to, I guess, sit down with you on that one, because, and review what have you done from 1 January to now. So everyone has lodged their BAS for December, but no one probably has lodged their BAS for January to March. So therefore, this is a good time to book an appointment to sit down with myself or your accountant to see what's the best commercial way to then pay yourself going forward. In order to, so you potentially could get the 100K stimulus account, to answer your question. So my next question is, thanks Leanne, thanks for joining us. Alex Hoskin, other PAYG tax incentives available to trust owners who do not have employees. So I did address this, I guess, in the middle of the webinar, Alex. So, which means that if you're running as a trust and you've been paying yourself as a trust distribution at the end of the year, and then obviously we need to reassess whether it's commercial for you to pay yourself as instead of salary, because I believe that, you know, this is my opinion, I believe that as a business owner, you have to get paid, right? So there is a good commercial reason for you to pay yourself a form of salary. And if you've been paying super, then I don't see why not. Again, a lot of tax strategy and planning need to be done before the BAS. So make sure you book an appointment for your personal case, because today is my advice is very general, and it's cannot be applied for everyone's situation. Okay, hope that answers that one. So just a few more minutes for any other questions, but I would suggest that if you're wanting to know how this applies for you, your business personally, because then I would highly recommend that you book an appointment with our accountant, well, your accountant, to go one-on-one. Okay, so if that is all, if there's no more questions, I thank everyone for joining us today. And just remember, guys, this current state, this coronavirus could go on for, you know, at least 6 months and more. So therefore, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan to how does your business look like after this. The plan from the government, the stimulus from the government will help inject for the next 6 months, right? 3 to 6 months. But what happens afterwards? So if your business has been incredibly impacted, that means shut down and you cannot run a business, then I think it's time to review your business model, because pandemics will come again. This is not the only pandemic. We had SARS, we had other pandemics, and it will come more, you know, probably it could come again in 1 or 2 years. We don't know. But what that tells me is that if your business is not surviving very well, then it's time to perhaps sit down with me and see how to reshape your business, whether moving more online so that you're not so badly affected in the next time round. But for now, for those who missed the beginning of the webinar, because I see some latecomers, then I will post this full recording onto the Success Group community. The reason why we created that is so that, you know, all our accountants will be you know, very busy getting these incentives back into our clients' bank accounts. So therefore, the best way to communicate is ask your questions to the group. Your questions will be answered onto the group so that other business owners can also learn from the answers, okay, and your questions. Okay, and please, it's not just a private group. Please, if you have your friends that are business owners, I'm happy for you to extend the invite to them and ask them to join, because, you know, the more business owners that we help to survive during this next 3 to 6 months, our economy will be faster to recover, and it impacts everyone. So you know, my mission is to help, you know, obviously our clients first, and then you know, we said 1,000 clients in the next 12 months. So yeah, so thank you very much. And I look forward to, if you have a request for any areas that I haven't, or you'd like to cover in more detail, then the next few webinars, please put it down into the community as well, because we hope to run during this time more frequent webinars, maybe weekly, but shorter, so that to keep the community inspired and, I guess, motivated, because we've decided early on that either we go shut down and just relax, or we go full on, full speed ahead, which means, and our team decided to go full speed ahead. So we are still very, I think 200% or 300% as busy as before, because we are creating, you know, we're going more online, educating our clients online through the online space. So we know we're not meeting anyone face-to-face appointments anymore, but doesn't mean that we cannot conduct business through Zoom, through online. So I encourage you to think of that, how you can get your business online as a parting gesture, because that's where that will also shield your business in the next pandemic. Okay, thank you everyone. It's also almost 2 o'clock now, so I'll say goodbye, and I will look forward to you know, seeing everyone and talking to you in how we can help you individually and your business soon. Okay, bye for now. Thank you.